Hi everyone, welcome to Lilybug's Library. My name's Linda. So I put on this little wrap over the dress that I have on because I'm not crazy about my arms. And so this was just to kind of cover them up. Unfortunately, it has fringe on it, and Dudley thinks they're a great toy. So if you see me start to go this way or that way, that's what he's doing. He's pulling on the fringe. So it may go back in the closet very soon. All right, so today we're going to talk about cruise cozies. Well, not just cozies. I've got a few other ones thrown in there. But cruise novels, because it's summer, it's beautiful. We are going to, a lot of people are going to be getting ready for cruises and going on a cruise in the summer. Other people are going to be starting to plan cruises that they plan to take in the winter, depending on where you live. So let's take a look and see what there is in cruise novels. So the first one is called Murder at the Mayan Temple. So it says Kitty Swift travels around the sunny Yucatan Peninsula, assisting luxury cruise ship groups as an interpreter for the deaf. Actually, the last cruise I was on, there was 2 interpreters on there, and it was fascinating to watch them because their hands just move so quickly, and I'm always interested in what the different sign is for the different words. I'd love to learn it myself someday, but they're fascinating to watch. So it says, after a disastrous broken engagement, she's perfectly content to spend her days with her service dog, Chica, and a motley crew of wealthy vacationers. But at the top of a Mayan pyramid, one of her tour group is found sacrificed to the gods. A clue left at the scene makes it clear this is a deeply personal act of revenge, and the killer may have another victim in his sights. As the entire tour group is brought in for questioning, Kitty and Chica find themselves in a race against time. A hurricane is bearing down on the city, the cruise ship is set to depart, and they're sequestered in an embassy house with a vicious murderer. So that one sounds exciting. The next one is called Beauty Queens and Cruises. When the Swan of the Seas hosts a beauty pageant, Adrian is forced to spend her time dealing with narcissistic judges, oblivious contestants, and a feminist protest. The event seems hectic enough when Diana Penn, the esteemed beauty queen and headlining judge, is found murdered. Now it's up to Adrian and her friends and First Officer Ethan Lee to sort through the secrets and lies and uncover the truth hiding behind those pristine smiles. So that should be interesting, a little beauty pageant to liven things up on the cruise ship. The next one is called Perfect Cruise, and I love the cat on the cover. It reminds me of Oliver. So yeah, very sweet. It says, the last thing I would have expected when Odelia announced she was taking me and Dooley along on her honeymoon was that I'd need to develop sea paws for the occasion. Yes, the honeymooners had decided to take a Caribbean cruise. Now, if there's one thing I dislike even more than being aboard a vessel floating in the middle of a large body of water, it's the presence of thousands of people having a good time and in doing so ignoring to watch their step. Lucky for us, we had a nice cabin practically all to ourselves since Odelia and Chase went island hopping. But that was before our next-door neighbor, rapper Little Thug, famous for the diamond he had implanted in his forehead, was murdered, and someone absconded with the $20 million pink gem. The ship's security officer asked Odelia and Chase to assist him in his investigation, and so yours truly managed to make himself useful after all by snooping around for clues and collecting gossip all over the Queen of the Seas. So I don't know if the cat in the story talks, but he was talking there, so we'll see. I'm drinking, well, I normally drink coffee in the mornings anyway, but I'm drinking coffee with boiled water because, besides the coffee making process, because there's a boil order on all across the city. So, here we go. Hopefully it's not for too many days. All right, so the next one is called Barbecue Bedlam. Fun Ships is doing very well in the Alaska cruise market. Their incredible private island with its luxurious boutique hotel was proving very popular with their passengers. Victoria Wilson enjoyed her new head office position as Director of Recreational Activities, but she missed being aboard one of their ships. Head office wasn't exciting as most of the cruises she'd been on. When she got to sail on a brand new ship, Arctic Adventurer, she was really happy until the bane of her existence showed up. Whose dumb idea was it to ask Maurice Montage, the la-di-da, nose-in-the-air French chef, to be the chief judge of the barbecue competition? Not hers. Maurice was pursuing her like crazy, turning up everywhere she was, no matter which ship she was on. When his battered body turned up in the bushes on Eagle Island, barely alive, it was up to Victoria to figure out who hated the Frenchman enough to nearly kill him, because some people were pointing their fingers directly at her. And this one, interesting, because he's not dead. He's nearly dead, which you don't often see. Usually it's a dead body, not a nearly dead body. The next one is called A Cruise for Sue. Like a sous chef. And so it says, secrets and scandal are the spices of this cruise when Classic Style Network chooses the Helio as the location for a cutthroat cooking competition. And it's up to Kennedy to keep things from boiling over in between taking care of the passengers and making sure the competition goes smoothly. Kennedy is also in charge of decorating the ship for the holidays. It's just a few trees, her boss said. And when travel writer Monique Patrick begins stirring the pot by asking uncomfortable questions, it could become a recipe for disaster. So there's two with a cooking competition on the cruise. So that'll be interesting. The next one is Baffled in the British Isles. And this is book one of the Ocean Cruise Cozies. And it says, Adele is brimming with excitement. Recently retired from retirement, the intuitive senior is delighted with her new role in her friend's fraud investigation agency. But when her tech-savvy boss is robbed of evidence at gunpoint, Adele will have to paddle hard to keep their investigation from crashing on the rocks. With escalating threats and unexpected twists and turns at every port, Adele races against time to navigate treacherous waters. So that one should be good, especially with a senior sleuth. Sometimes those are pretty funny. The next one is called A Heist on the Ice. And it says, it is a kind of a chunker. It's like 461 pages, so it's pretty big. A Heist on the Ice finds cruise director Kennedy Reeves helping a VIP test cruise as the Melina returns to her. As the Melina returns to her Alaskan waters. Things start out rocky when the welcome Kennedy receives is as glacial as the temperatures of the waters. And who does Kennedy see on the manifest? None other than the formidable Vera Jameson, and the last passenger Kennedy ever wanted to see again, LaVonda Taylor, the woman who tried to have her fired years ago. Things don't get better when the Melina's cruise director, threatened by Kennedy's presence on the ship, decides to treat her like his assistant. When he's not dumping his duties on Kennedy, he's finding ways to thwart her. And while Kennedy and the other passengers are taking in Alaska's dazzling beauty, someone else is busy pocketing other sparkling things. So it sounds like she's got her work cut out for her there. She's got a lot of people on that cruise she doesn't want to see. I guess that would be hard if you were working on a cruise. It's like you have no choice, when it comes to the passengers. So the next one's actually it's actually a romance. So it's called Christine on a Quest and a Lord. It says Christine Newberry wanted nothing more than to go to Jamaica and experience everything her late father, abolitionist Frederick Newberry, did during his time there. She wants it so badly that when she's offered passage on a trip with one of her father's friends, she does what she must to persuade her mother to let her go, marry whomever her mother chooses upon her return. She never expected that love would find her amidst the warm breezes and the sound of slave songs. She never thought love would come in the guise of her enemy's son. Colin Armitage is a man of principle and faith. Moved by the plight of the enslaved, he spent most of his adult years working with abolitionists in Jamaica in the hopes of winning enough support to force change. Love was never on his agenda. Finding a woman who shared his passion was a difficult task. Then he met an angel with beauty and a heart that beat the same desire as his. If only she wasn't his family's enemy. Can love truly overcome all sins, or are there some things too great to change? So that sounds like it would be interesting. And love the picture, her kind of looking out in a white gown over the rough seas and things. So hopefully that'll be exciting. So the next one is Billionaire Lady on a Mystery Cruise. So she starts off, she says, I am Helen Baldwin, CEO of Baldwin High Fashion. It's a glamorous job, and I'm in a position of power that most men in my industry don't enjoy. But it did not come without a price. For me, I became a widow at 30. After 8 years, it still hurts, and I'm dedicated to finding out who or what wound up putting him face down in the Hudson River. Until then, there's still life to be led, bringing me to an excellent cruise ship for a weekend sailing around the Bahamas for my high school reunion. Seeing all the familiar faces and catching up on old times is fun. But for me, meeting handsome Harrison Keats again is the highlight. The lowlight is murder. It falls to us, Harrison, a former military man and a police officer, with me, naturally curious and unwilling to see more innocent people die mysteriously, to solve the murder. Okay, so that one sounds interesting. And she looks very fashionable and fabulous. So it should be good. So the next one is really tiny. It's only 80 pages. So if you want to kind of dip your toe into the whole cruise books, but you don't really want to commit because it's summer, again, only 80 pages. So it's called Murder on Board, and I do love the picture. Again, someone, this woman looking very, very chic and fabulous. So Shay Jordan is trying to get a fresh start. She wants to take beautiful pictures and see the world, and so decides to take employment on a cruise ship. Unfortunately, life isn't on a cruise ship. Boy, they messed that sentence up. Unfortunately, life on a cruise ship isn't one big holiday, and Shay is about to find out. After her first night, a body is found in one of the main pools. I think I'd be getting off at the next port. The victim is heiress Nova Ashcroft. It also becomes immediately apparent that it was no accident when they find out that Nova had been stabbed. When the captain approaches Shay and asks her to take a look around, Shay knows where to start. However, members of the crew are determined to keep the whole thing a secret, and surprisingly, so is Nova's husband. Okay, so what's he got to do with it? Okay, so the next one is called Starboard Secrets, and it has another senior cruise. And it says, Millie Sanders' husband of 35 years suddenly leaves her for her friend and hairdresser. After months of mourning and moping, Millie is surprisingly hired on a cruise ship as assistant director, where she investigates how a dead body ended up near the atrium bar. The deceased had more enemies than friends. Will Millie delve too deeply and risk losing her job and possibly her life? Okay, well, that's a short synopsis, but sounds interesting. So a couple more. Drugged on Deck is the next one. It says Hope Harper has spent 4 years working her way up on the Caribbean Honey cruise ship and is finally sure a promotion is coming her way. When she gets passed over again, and for a pretentious young man with less experience, she could just, well, When a cruise guest is killed, she's thrown in the middle of a murder on the high seas. Can she put her feelings aside and solve the mystery, or will the killer get the best of her and the crew? Well, it wasn't the guy that ends up dead by the sounds of it, so that's good. She can't be on the hook for that. And then the last one is a little different, and I like the name of it and I like the look of it, so I included it too. So it's not a cozy. Maybe it's going to be a romance. There might be romance in it, but I think it's also like a family saga sort of book. So this one's by Fern Michaels, and it's called Santa Cruz. Says at Ridgewood High, Amy, Frankie, Rachel, and Nina formed a deep bond. Now 15 years after leaving school, they're back for a reunion, laughing, reminiscing, and chatting about how much has changed and how much hasn't. Nina, once the star of every school play, moved to Hollywood and landed a recurring role on a sitcom. Amy, fondly known as the brains of the operation, is now a Silicon Valley bioengineer. Outgoing and compassionate, Frankie works for a New York publishing house, and Rachel, always the boy crazy of the crew, married, mostly to please her parents, but is now divorced. All four are strong, successful, and somehow still looking for the right partner. But Frankie has an idea to help solve that, a singles cruise for the holidays. In late December, Amy, Frankie, Rachel, and Nina gather in Miami, ready to board their state-of-the-art cruise ship. The entertainment options are endless, the food is to die for, and the passenger list includes hundreds of eligible men. The highlight of the week will be a magnificent New Year's Eve celebration with multiple theme parties, dancing, and fireworks. So it sounds exciting. They don't really say too much about, what they might find, but Be interesting to see if they find love on the cruise ship or if they just reconnect with each other or how it goes. So I like Fern Michaels, haven't read her in a long time, so I'm interested to see where that one goes. So lots of cruise ship novels, mostly cozies. So I like that. It's kind of almost like a locked door mystery because you can't get off the cruise ship necessarily. I mean, you can when it's in port, but when it's at sea, if there was a murder, everyone would kind of be stuck on there. So anyway, interesting to see those ones. And I like the idea of a cruise ship mystery. So I hope you found something in there that you enjoy. And if you have been on a cruise, I'd love to know where you've been. And if you're getting ready to go on a cruise, I'd love to know that too. So hope you have a great day, friends. Bye-bye.